Welcome back to another episode of Aussie Google Earth Explorer. Today's ep. Still, we're doing New South Wales towns. I reckon this might be the last episode we're doing New South Wales, and then we'll go up to Queensland. Because look, I think they deserve a little bit of help. We've given them the beans and state of origin. So maybe it's time we go and visit some towns up there, give them a bit of a comedic reprieve. You know what I mean? I think they need it. All right, today's ep. We're gonna do a couple towns. We're gonna do Wagga. Where's Wagga? Where are we at? We're going to do Wagga, Junee, which is just near Wagga, and then we're going to look at, what are we going to go? Wagga, Junee, and Cootamundra. Wagga, Junee, Cootamundra. But we'll start off in Wagga because Wagga is I believe Australia's largest inland city. It's big, mate. It's big. It's like 250,000 people, I think. And it's a big place, man. Wagga is huge. It is literally an inland city. So they've got heaps of stuff here to look at. They've got so much stuff to look at. It is surrounded by the Murrumbidgee River, which I'm a bit biased because the town that I'm from, the Murrumbidgee is nearby. And I love the Bidgee. I love the Murrumbidgee. It's the little brother of the Murray River. It's probably the older cousin of the Lachlan River. It's kind of smack bang in the middle. It's long. It starts up in the Snowy Mountains, and it runs all the way down into. Actually, don't know where it ends. Maybe it ends in South Australia. I know the Murray mouth is in South Australia, but I don't know where the Murrumbidgee actually finishes. Might have to do an episode. We'll do a whole episode on the Murray-Darling Basin because that'd be sick. The whole Murray-Darling Basin, all the rivers and stuff, because it's it's Australia's biggest river system. So we've got to look at it. All right, here's Wagga, and straight off the bat, man, Wagga is huge. Wagga is massive. It's like a whole city. Look at these suburbs: Ashmont, Glenfield Park, Mount Austin, Tolland. This is a big place, man. This is a huge place, and I'm liking what I'm seeing here already. We got the Wagga Beach. Now, everyone knows this. Once a year, there's a wave that comes through Wagga. Once a year, all the farmers open up their irrigation gates, and a 2-foot wave comes down the Murrumbidgee River, and all the locals in Wagga, they line up their surfboards here, and they surf the wave, right? The Murrumbidgee River wave, and it goes all through here. And on a good year, you can actually get barreled. All right, on a good year, you can actually get barreled. And the WSL, which is the World Surf League, famous for having events in Bells Beach and Margaret River, they're actually thinking about adding an event here. Okay, the Murrumbidgee River Pro. That's some chat that's going down. So if you're not from the country and you didn't know you can surf on the Murrumbidgee River, there you go, a bit of information for you. The Murrumbidgee River wave, once a year, you can hang 10 in Wagga, ladies and gentlemen. You can hang 10. What else have we got here? Okay, I've been to the races here at Wagga. They do. It's not exactly a country races. It's a bit more leveled up than the country races. Okay, it's nice. It's nice. In the middle of the in the middle of the racetrack, this is funny. In the middle of the horse racing track, they've got the pet cemetery. So inevitably, when your horse breaks a leg or something and is turned into glue, oh, that's unfortunate. They got the pet cemetery right in the middle of the racetrack there. That's the irony is too much for even me to not think that is funny. I hope that's a joke. That definitely can't be real. That's ridiculous. All right. What do we got here? What's actual inner Wagga look like? Let's go to the center. They might even have this thing in 3D for us because it's a pretty big town. This is the center of Wagga. Let's zoom in. Do they have a 3D for us here in Wagga? Are they going to give us a 3D? Look at that. They got a 3D in Wagga. So you know your country town's big when you got a 3D map. Now, I'm just going to turn off for a second. I'm just going to turn off all those labels because there's too many labels. man, check out Wagga. Check out Wagga. I give you some. Tell you what, man, the quality of Google Earth, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't used it, it is something to behold. You can just zoom in. You can literally just zoom in on anything, and the quality is unparalleled, mate. It's unmatched. If you told someone 20 years ago that you could just zoom in like this on anywhere on Earth, and granted, not everything's in 3D, but the things that are, like, you would just not believe it. You absolutely would just not believe it. I mean, there's a lot of things that you wouldn't believe, but this is one of them, right? This is one of them. This looks like kind of like the central area. This is classic country. This is classic country. Now, what I reckon this is a shade area for a car park. And you live in a hot place in Australia where they put the shade in for the car park. I remember in my town, they put a shade in for the Coles car park. And mate, middle of summer, everyone wanted those shady parks. Everyone wanted the shady parks. People would be fighting over who got the shady parks in the Coles car park. Now, some people would think that's probably pretty pathetic and pretty sad, but at the time, mate, put a seatbelt on that's been sitting in a car in a 45-degree rural New South Wales town heat for 4 hours while you're cruising around in the local shopping centre, and you'll want some shady car park. You'll want some shady car park. Let's turn the old layers back on here so we can see what we're doing here in Wagga, and let's have a little look around. So outside of Wagga, they've got a base here. They've got a base. They have a RAAF Air Force base out here in Wagga. This is interesting. So they have I didn't know this. They have a full-on Air Force base out in Wagga. So these planes to me, well, this is just straight up airport action. But these bad boys, mate, who's getting the private jet in Wagga? Who's getting the private jets in Wagga? What big dog is flying in on that thing to a regional town? I'd love to know. That's interesting. Now, in my last video, I said, I was talking about Rex planes. And let me tell this is a Rex plane. You can see it's written on the side, so don't come at me this time, the Saabs. And I've made a few videos where I comment on planes, and there is no other community online that will come at you harder than an aviation enthusiast. Oh, that's not the right plane. Mate, relax. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just chill out for 5 seconds. Like, don't ever get into a conversation with an aviation enthusiast about a plane, because they'll rip your head off if you say even slightly the wrong thing. Like, mate, who cares? Chill out. All right, what do we got here? The Australian Airline Pilot Academy. Oh, cool. So you can actually learn to fly planes in Wagga here. This is pretty cool. They got a Rex plane. I wonder if this is the center of Regional Express. Like, is this their headquarters? It might be. Because if it's a regional airline and Wagga is the biggest regional centre, it might be the head of it. Because there's a lot of planes out here. There's heaps of planes out here, and these look like they're all Rex planes. These are all Rex planes, and I love Rex, man. Don't come at me saying I don't love Rex. I've got no love for Rex. That's nonsense, man. I love Rex. I've been flying Rex since I was a little kid. And as I said, you get on a Rex plane, it's like a bloody roller coaster. It's a bit of fun. Wagga, we got Gumly here. Gumly. I don't know what that is. Is that a town? Gumly? Oh, actually, speaking of funny named towns, this will give you a good laugh. This is classic stuff. Just outside of Wagga. All right, let me get my bearings here. Where are we at? Hold on. Let me zoom out here for a second. I've got to find something. Okay, here we go. All right, and excuse me as the school nearby plays the music for the end of the day. But just outside of Wagga, you're going to see these three towns: Grong, Matong, and Ganmain. Okay, and the best thing about this is these three towns play unified in the local football AFL competition as Ganmain, Grong, Matong. Ganmain Grong Grong Matong. That's one team name. Okay? Ganmain Grong Grong Matong. Isn't that awesome? Ganmain Grong Grong Matong. Try and say that a few times fast. So this is as country as it gets. These three towns. If you're from Ganmain, Grong Grong, or Matong, please tell us what it's like living in Matong. Let's have a look at Matong here. Matong's pretty small. They got a grain corp. All of these towns have a grain corp silo opposite what they would call their main street. Super common to have a grain corp silo because all these towns have a railway running straight past them. You'll see, like this is super common. There's always a silo. Yeah, check this out. See that? Bang, there's a silo there. There's a silo in front of all of these towns. You could find one. I reckon literally go anywhere. Narrandera, doesn't matter where you go around here. Yanko, there'd be silos in the opposite the main street there across. See Grain Corp Yanko site? They're everywhere. That's just because everyone around here is growing wheat and stuff. So, it's pretty standard. But yeah, Ganmain Grong Grong Matong. Get around that for a bit of fun country names. But let's go back to Wagga here because we haven't really given it a good looking, okay? And they've got this thing called Lake Albert. Lake Albert. And this must be like the Wagga. I mean, I wonder if this is where like the Wagga, you get your boat on this thing, or is this a little bit not? Because some lakes, here we go, Wagga Sailing Club. This might be a little bit too residential to hoon around here on like an actual boat with a ski behind it. I don't think you'd be able to put your boat with a ski behind it on Lake Albert because it's a little bit too residential. And mate, you can imagine how many people would have speedboats out in Wagga. Heaps, mate. If you live in the country, big indicator that your family's got a bit of money is you got a speedboat. And there'd be like 10 kids trying to have a go on the biscuit. Oh, let's talk about the biscuit. If you grew up near a body of water, you would have feared for your absolute life on the back of a boat on the biscuit. You're getting thrown off the biscuit. Someone's older brother's driving the boat and you're on the back on the biscuit. Mate, this could be it for you. This could literally be the last thing you ever do. Everyone's been traumatized on a biscuit. I've been traumatized on a biscuit, that's for sure. I nearly lost my life on a biscuit. Probably wasn't even going fast at all, but at the time, I felt like I was absolutely cruising. All right, here we go. This is the Wagga Wagga Country Club. And actually, this is a good point, and I think this is important to talk about. The town's called Wagga Wagga, but no one says that. Everyone just says Wagga. If you say Wagga Wagga, you're kind of like an undercover cop giving away the fact that you're not from around here because no one says Wagga Wagga. It's just Wagga. It's just Wagga, all right? But this is the Wagga Wagga Country Club. And I'm thinking that this is the nicest course they got in Wagga. And mate, from the aerial view, these greens look pretty good. These greens look pretty nice. I'm liking what I'm seeing here at the Wagga Wagga Country Club. This is very nice. And a great road name on the site here, Plumpton Road. I love a Plumpton Road surrounding my golf course, Plumpton Road. It's interesting. Let's zoom out. What else we got here? Heaps, mate. This place is massive. Wagga is huge. And you can see how rural it is on the outsides, right? Like, this is all farming land out here. But then you just have this massive centre. And actually, someone just caught my eye here. This is interesting. All right, so this is Kapooka. This is Kapooka, which is... I presume this is where you do your basic training if you join the army. So a lot of people would have come through here. You join the army in New South Wales, there'd be like a bunch of different places that you can do your basic training, but I believe that this is like one of the biggest ones here. And I'm not going to launch into a video talking about anything about the military because, mate, I said before, there's two types of people, or there's one type of person that's going to call you out by saying the wrong thing. One's an aviation enthusiast. The other one's a military enthusiast. Oh my goodness. I've made a few videos in the past talking about anything to do with the army. Instant comments, mate. Instant comments. People are so full on about the military. And that's all right. People got their right to be. They take it pretty serious. It's a serious job, mate. Of course you would. But we got Charlie Company here. We got Charlie Company at Kapooka. and it looks like it's the only bloody one they've got. Now, Wally Thompson, OR's Mess. That must be where you get your lunch there, the mess hall. But a lot of people would have come through here and done Kapooka, mate. A lot of people. And I wonder if we can actually find, so on the outside of Kapooka, here we go. This is where they do their shooting. So this is where you would do all your weapons training, your basic training for weapons. And they'd be different. These are all different lengths, right? So you're here and you're shooting this way. So this would be 50 meters, that's 100, that's 150 meters, etc. And all of these different things, this would be like, you might be shooting from different positions. You'd be shooting different weapons. There'd be like a pistol range. Obviously, that's like, rifles because you have longer distance there. But there's all these different little drills and little things that you can do. I've got a small amount of military experience, so I see a little bit of something there. A small amount. What else is out here? Hospital Road. This must be the military hospital. Okay, so this is where you fake you got a knee injury. This is where you'd be like, oh, I got a real bad knee injury. I can't do it today. I got to go to the hospital. That's where you pop out there to the Kapooka Hospital. All right, let's just cruise out here a little bit because I think that's probably enough for Wagga, right? It's a big town. They got a uni out here as well, actually, Charles Sturt Wagga. This is a big uni. This is probably one of the biggest regional unis that we've got in New South Wales, Charles Sturt. It's huge, mate. It is massive. Really, really, really big. And look how rural it is. There's literally farms on the side of the uni. This would be like really, really remote. You'd be looking at here. Imagine that. You're living on the cottages. Okay. If I'm living in the cottages, 3, 5, 6, mate, I can just walk over here and I'm in someone's paddock. I've just come over here and I'm in someone's bloody paddock. So that's very remote for a uni anyway. Very remote. All right, let's cruise out here. Actually, before we go to the next town, I just want a quick shout out to Peter Sterling, okay, NRL player for the Parramatta Eels. He was born in Leeton, but he grew up in Wagga. So shout out to Peter Sterling. I'm an Eels fan. Love your work, mate. And this is where you did some good work here for the Wagga team, I presume, at some point in your young life. Peter Sterling, legend. All right, let's go to Junee here. Because Junee is always a word that you get thrown around as a kid. And it's this one thing that people always talk about Junee, Monte Cristo. And apparently it's this haunted house. Monte Cristo house. Let's have a look. Monte Cristo. Where is this bloody thing? All right, Monte Cristo. Monte Cristo Road? Where's the house, mate? Homestead Lane. I reckon that's it. Is that it? Monte Cristo house. Oh, come on. Come on, guys. It's not giving me what I want. I'm just going to say it. I reckon this is Monte Cristo house. And there's a house. If it's not this, I apologize. But there's a house here called Monte Cristo, and it's haunted. Apparently, the yarn is it's haunted. So when you're growing up, I guess in New South Wales, as my experience was, people would say 2 things about Junee. Actually, this is all I know about Junee. 1, Junee Jail, and 2, Monte Cristo. That's it. Apart from that, I could not tell you another thing about this place. Junee Jail and Monte Cristo. And as I said, I think this is Monte Cristo here. This looks like a haunted house to me. This looks like a little bit it's got a haunted vibe about it, that's for sure. That's haunted. All right, I tell you what, imagine living nearby. I mean, these are nice houses, so whatever. Also, ghosts aren't real. But living near a haunted house would be kind of freaky, or you'd freak yourself out, especially if you're a kid, you'd be freaking out. And here we go, Junee Jail. This is it, Junee Correctional Centre. So this is the other thing that people always talk about Junee. It's Junee Jail. We've got the Junee Correctional Centre here. And, mate, I don't know what it is about jails, but it's a fascination with what you don't understand. It's why people love documentaries about prisons and crime and stuff, because you just have no idea what it's like to be in a place like this, man. You just have no idea what it's like. They got a couple little courts in here, little basketball courts or whatever. I don't even know what sort of court. That's a basketball court, but what's that? What's that sort of court? Maybe that's a jail sport no one's ever seen before. That could be jail sport, mate. Junee jail sport. That's probably what that is. Junee jail sport. That's Junee jail or Junee correctional center. Let's zoom out here. What else have they got in Junee? Again, see what I'm saying? Grain Corp. There's a grain corp everywhere, dude. There is a grain corp. If you got a town in the country, you got a railway track here, you got a grain corp. You got a grain corp. What else have they got around here? Junee. Let's have a little look. Junee High School. Wonder what Junee High School was like. Probably pretty rough, I reckon. Probably pretty rough. I think my vision of Junee's been a little bit tainted from the jail and the haunted house. But Junee High School, it's got a bit of a rough fight. Although it actually looks quite nice around here. Like all these houses are really nice. Looks really like well kept. Everything's put together. This could be completely wrong, but I mean, just looking at it, it doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look like terrible. Rocky Hill Lookout. Good to have a lookout in your town. If you haven't got a lookout, a little bit of a hill. Oh, how good's this? You look out and a little bit of a water tank. Look out and a little bit of a water tank. A very country town-esque right there. That's you could replicate that. Junee Cemetery. I love it looking at cemeteries. Not on Google Earth because you can't see anything, but in real life, I find them so interesting. Oh, this is cool. All right, this is cool here. We got the Junee Community Recycling Centre. All right, now this is where you come and you separate your bottles. And as a kid, I remember doing this. Clear glass, brown glass, green glass. And you get to throw the bottles in and smash the bottles. Smash. And I have not thought about this for probably 25 years that these I used to go to a recycling centre with my dad when I was a kid. I used to get to smash the bottles. And it was so fun. So if you've ever done that before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that is such a core memory that I've just not thought about for so long, smashing the bottles at the recycling centre. Smashing the bottles at the recycling centre. What else has Junee got for us? What else they got? Oh, here we go. This is interesting. Junee Clay Target Club. Junee Clay Target Club. What's the name? What is the name of that bloke, that clay target shooter? Australia's best clay target shooter. Michael Diamond. Remember him? Michael Diamond. He was like an Olympian or something. Then something happened to him. He got in a bit of trouble. Or did he go to jail? Michael Diamond. You used to hear about him all the time. Mate, if we had a quiet year at the Olympics, like if the Australian swimming team, because let's be honest, they're the only ones that win any medals, if they were off, Michael Diamond would be getting like 90% of the news coverage because he's the only one bloody winning anything, Michael Diamond. And he was pretty much guaranteed a medal. That guy was a weapon. Excuse my pun. He was an absolute weapon, mate. All right, that might be Junee. And there's Junee and then there's old Junee out here. There's Junee and there's old Junee. So there you go. And that's an old, man, Junee's an old town. That has a lot of history. And actually, before we leave Junee, again, another football shout out, and I think it needs to be said. The great Ray Warren, Rabs, is from Junee, the voice of rugby league. If you watch rugby league in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, you would know his voice. Called State of Origin, called all the grand finals. You know him when you hear him. Rabs, Ray Warren. He's from Junee, and actually, Laurie Daly, current New South Wales Blues coach, is from Junee as well. Lucky he got the win the other night. I thought we were very lucky there to get that win. All right, one more town we're going to look at here. One more town, and we're going to go to, where should we go next? Let's go to Cootamundra. Let's go to Cootamundra because talking about famous people, and this debate rages on and on and on and on. We're talking about Sir Donald Bradman, the Don, okay? Because a few towns claim him, okay? But he was born, now here we go, someone's marked it. Bradman's birthplace, Sir Donald Bradman's birthplace. Let's zoom in on it. Let's see if we can see here. This is where it all happened, mate. This is where he was born, the Don. And I'm not exactly quite sure why there is an argument over him, but I know that Bowral has a claim to Sir Donald Bradman. Obviously, he's born in Cootamundra, but it's just everyone wants a piece of him. Here we go, Bradman Oval. Bradman bat and wickets. So I wonder if that's, you could sort of hit the, what did he hit the, I think he hit did he hit a golf ball against a water tank with a cricket stump? Is that the yarn? A golf ball against a water tank with a cricket stump? I'm not sure. I can't remember. But Bradman Oval here, I probably would have got about 6 and then get caught sort of right here, trying to hit over cover. I was a shocking batter, more of a bowler myself. Says everyone that's bad at cricket. I was terrible. But here we go, Cootamundra. Okay, let's have a little look here at Coota. Now, the only thing I know about Cootamundra is when you catch and again, mate, I keep talking about grain corp, but far out, they've got a lot of places in country towns here. When you catch a train, all right, in the country, Cootamundra is a big station where you'd get off your bus, right, and you'd hop on the train. You're trying to get to Sydney, you get on the bus here, or you get off the bus and you hop onto the train, and you'll see some stuff, mate. You'll see some stuff here because by its very nature, bus and train transport in a place where a lot of people are just driving their cars or they're flying, you'll get some pretty rare characters transiting through this area, okay? And as a kid, mate, I saw some weird stuff around here. There's always like a couple little scuffles. People have got their belongings with them. Unfortunately, they might be carrying them in a plastic bag or something. Like a lot goes on at this little terminal here, the Cootamundra terminal. Like people are always trying to get off the bus. This is a classic thing. You be on the bus, right? Imagine I'm on the bus. This looks like a truck, but let's just pretend I'm on the bus, okay? And the bus driver's putting all the little bags on, right? He's putting the bags on. And someone gets on and they want to get off for a smoke. Say, how long have we got to go? I want to get off for a smoke. And the bus driver's like, no, don't get off. We're about to leave. And then the person's like, I want to have a smoke quickly. I want to have a smoke. And they'll hop off the bus. And then they'll have like 5 seconds of this dart. And then there'll be a bit of a scuffle. Mate, that's a classic. That's bus. You know what I mean? That's bus stuff for you. Bit of bus antics at Cootamundra Depot. There'll be a lot of stuff that happened at the Cootamundra Depot. Cootamundra, a lot of cricket ovals here. Now, I don't know if this is because of the Don, but there's a lot of parks here. I've got Bradman Oval, Nicholson Park, Fisher Park, whatever this park's called. They've got heaps of parks. Clark Oval, Bathings, one of the hardest last names to say, Bathings. If your last name's Bathings, man, as a kid, that would have been a hard one for you. That's tricky. Bathings. I still can't do it. What else we got in Coota? I think, does Cootamundra have a yearly beach volleyball competition? I think I know someone that went to the Cootamundra beach volleyball competition where for like once a year, they'll dump a bunch of sand somewhere and they'll have a beach volleyball comp, which seems like an odd thing to do in a country town. But when I think Cootamundra, that does come to my mind. That might be incorrect, but I believe that might be the case. Cootamundra. What's this out here in Cootamundra? This is just someone's big house, I think. That's just someone's big house. Yeah, not much to look at here. They got a quarry. Out in Cootamundra with a big hole in it. Throw something down, deep gully. I bet it is. Deep gully. And in American movies, there were always a quarry. You'd always throw things down the quarry. And I was always jealous I'd never got to throw something down a quarry. I'd love to throw something down a quarry. That'd be really fun. Looks like, what's this? This is an abattoir. Mate, drive past an abattoir. That's a smell. Far out. If you work at an abattoir, gee, you think a fish market's a lot. Imagine working there. Couldn't imagine it. That's a hard job, man. And I think there's one other thing we're going to say before we leave, and this is important, right? This is very, very important to get this out. I want to get this out in the open. This has been bugging me for a while. There's a little town here called Binalong, all right? There's a little town here called Binalong. Now, when you drive through Binalong, the law in New South Wales states that if a car passes through Binalong, New South Wales, as you enter the town, okay, you must say out loud, audibly, so your passenger can hear, been a long time since we've been here. You have to say it. You have to say it. If you don't say been a long time since we've been here, driving through Binalong, I believe about $550 Australian fine. And then if it's a public holiday, I think that might be $650 or $700. God forbid if it's a double demerit weekend. Mate, if you pass through Binalong and don't say been a long time since we've been here on a public holiday, you'll lose your license. You'll lose your license. So just that's something to note, all right? That's something to note. If you take one thing from this video, make sure if you're going on the Burley Griffin Way, you pass through Binalong, make sure you say the words "been a long time since we've been here." Okay? Just make sure you know the rules and regulations of this great state of New South Wales. All right, and I think that might do it for us. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. See ya. See ya.